So when we pray, there's all kinds of things we pray about, right? We pray for our aunt not to be sick ourselves, our grandfather to pull through, us to have a safe trip, or a friend to have a safe trip through somewhere where they might get stuck or they might have trouble. For tomorrow to be better than today, because sometimes today's suck. Sometimes today's don't go well, and we're just like, please God, let the next day be better. Let the rest of this week be better. Let me not have as much work at work, wherever you work at. There's all kinds of things we pray for. There's even sports teams that pray that they win, even though I'm not really sure why God would favor one team over another. We kind of pray for all kinds of things. We thank for food. We thank God for food. We thank, and if you believe in different gods, like I do, we thank different gods for food. I might even thank different saints or different various beings for different food, different Buddhas for food or for enlightenment or for this wisdom. Sometimes when we get really excited, we're like, oh, thank God, or oh, thank the Buddha, or thank the gods that this happened. Some of the prayers are very sad. Some of them are in times of desperation, in need, or in fear, when fear wraps our hearts, as it often will in this world. Sometimes it's in times of anger, where we're like, oh, I hope, God, kill that person, or hurt that person, or something like that, or God, you teach that person a lesson. Prayers in anger are the worst prayers, to be honest. And here's the reason why. Because prayer, it's actually meant to transform, I think it was Kierkegaard that said this, it's meant to transform the nature of the person. It's not meant to affect God. And I would apply this to gods, saints, Buddhas, whoever you're talking to. It's not meant to affect the being. It's not meant to affect the Divine Mother Kali, who is my first and foremost, who is, I think, is the deepest nature to everything, is the truest sense of everything, and in whose womb everything exists. Both this world is a layer of her womb, this universe is a layer of her womb, and the other universes in the multiverse is a layer of her womb. Wombs within wombs, turtles all the way down. But whoever you pray to, it's not meant to affect them. It's meant to affect the nature of the person praying. It's meant to transform that person into, it's kind of open up channels to that which is above and that which is within. Open up the channels through prayer. Open up to the idea that you can receive something. And truly, if you pray hard enough and pray true enough with your heart in it, with your soul in it, with absolute, not just blind belief, not just blind faith, that too, but not just with that, but with all of your being. If you really pray and you really feel like the prayer can be answered, there's these channels that open up in reality itself, in the multiverse itself, for you to receive. Because a lot of prayer is not necessarily, like manifesting something instantly. It's emptying your cup of all that was in there. All the thoughts of doubt, all the thoughts of pain, all the thoughts of lack, all the thoughts of all the random stuff that we think throughout the day that we've just been putting in our cup that is our mind. In prayer, we dump it out and it becomes a bowl again that can receive. Now we're getting to the being, the avatar, whom every time that I make this specific prayer, so there's a specific kind of prayer that this avatar answers. He's the Maha Avatar Babaji. The Maha Avatar Babaji, who is said to, he is in constant communion with Jesus Christ, another avatar. And in this line of gurus that I consider as a line of gurus that, I follow the teachings of, even though I don't practice Kriya Yoga, I do meditate. It goes Krishna, Jesus Christ, Babaji, Maha Avatar Babaji, Lahiri Moshe, Swami Shri Yukteswar, and then Paramahansa Yogananda, and then that's kind of like the length of the lineage right there. And then I take into account Kriyananda's works as well. But both Krishna and Jesus Christ and Babaji, they were actually all Kriya yogis, in my understanding, in this lineage's understanding. A lot of the other faith stuff came later, but a part of Kriya Yoga, the reason why Christ is always talking about life and the cup of life, and the eye, making your eye one. It's all about, Kriya Yoga is very much about opening the body up for life. And tapping in, clarifying those places where life it does not go into the body, clarifying those areas so that it can, so that you fill your body with life. I said Paramahansa Yogananda, the coroner who wasn't Hindu, who was Christian, he wrote this really interesting letter that wasn't like for mass publication, but he wrote a letter to someone, and it was talking about how his body hasn't decayed in months. It's because of the lifetrons, which are the subtle, even more subtle than electrons. The lifetrons are what yogis work with, and definitely avatars work with, and how you produce miracles. There's a deep science to it, and eventually science will get it, but the science that we understand, material science, but it'll take a long time, hundreds and hundreds of years. But at any rate, very much about life. Maha Avatar, Babaji, if you say a mantra to him, if you say a prayer to him, I'm not going to say it's guaranteed, but every time that I've said a prayer to him mentally or outwardly, and I've said his name, Babaji, 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 over and over again, I get an instant sense of connection and peace. I wouldn't say instant. I would say after I say it for a while, and then I keep on breathing and just stop letting those thoughts, those negativity, and all those worries flood into my head, trying to keep my bowl empty. Where I say, Om Babaji, Om Babaji, Om Babaji, Om Babaji, or you can just say Babaji, 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 Babaji in your head or outwardly. And if you put your hands like this, if you put your hands like this, you're kind of cutting yourself off from connection. Or putting your hands like this and praying like this, or saying a mantra like this is the way to do it. With your hands together, it's kind of centering and making yourself a line directly up, or it's at least a pole through which energy can travel, kind of thing. So, Om Babaji, Om Babaji, Om Babaji, Om Babaji, Om. And you can say it mentally, but you don't have to use your hands, and you don't have to say it outwardly. Or you can just say Babaji, Babaji, Babaji mentally. But sometimes I'll ask Babaji for something like, oh, Babaji, please, please connect me to this. Please bring me this. Oh, Babaji, this or that. And while what I'm actually praying for might not, materialize or anything like that, or it may not even come into my life soon after, what will come in is a sense of inner peace. And the reason why when you pray to Babaji, you get a sense of inner peace, and why this prayer is always answered by Babaji, is that he's a Maha-avatar. He doesn't have a physical body all the time on this earth, but he is present on this earth until it dies. Until all life on this planet is gone, he's going to exist. Now, a lot of the time he's kind of floating around in the ether, but he's always prepared to materialize himself in a body like that, or to take up a body, something like that. But he's always here. He never leaves Earth. He's always raising the consciousness of Earth. He's always raising the, all of the consciousness that exists in every single human being. It's all connected. But so is the consciousness of animals and plants. All consciousness is connected. And it's almost like he's floating around in that consciousness and just raising it up by constant work, keep trying to raise all the vibration of all these different consciousnesses. And without him, man, the world would be a lot darker. It wouldn't be completely, screwed. It wouldn't be like the world is ending, or it was not like it would just fall apart, but it would be much darker. While there will probably be more avatars in the future, Babaji has to be more careful. He can't just appear all the time and teach people like directly and make himself appear in various places and be like, I'm Babaji, here's the lessons, and teach like that, because he's going to be alive for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. He has to kind of remain in the background. So he subtly increases the vibration of this planet and the level of consciousness on this planet. So what that means is when you say Babaji mentally, or when you say it outwardly, when you really focus on it and say it like you're praying, a mantra can be prayer. Say it like you're praying. Empty your cup and just think Babaji. Just say Babaji. And you can put your hands together and whatever variation, but just say Babaji in your head. You can say Om Babaji, Om Babaji, Om Babaji, Om again and again for as long as you want, or you can just say Babaji, 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 because I've tried all these things. But he is always on this planet. He doesn't leave. He doesn't go somewhere else. And he's always ready to manifest. He doesn't need to manifest to actually affect your consciousness, but he's just waiting and constantly tapping into the stream of consciousness that we all share, and raising the consciousness and raising the vibration of this earth. So when you say Babaji again and again and again, and maybe you want to ask for this or that, and it might happen, But what you'll always get is at least some measure of peace. It is said that, when you recite the Babaji mantra, Om Babaji Om, Babaji Om, Babaji Om, and you recite Babaji 108 times. If you want to do it exactly, say 108 times, the Babaji part, and then Om in between, and then Om at the beginning, Om at the end. But you don't necessarily have to do it that many times. But what that mantra, what that prayer is supposed to do is give you at least some modicum of peace within yourself. And I found that it does every time. And if you want to make a little offering to Babaji, just to give you an idea, if you don't really know, how these things work, I have a picture of Babaji that you can order on Amazon if you want, but you don't necessarily need like a photo picture or like a framed picture. You can literally just print one out or even sketch one. And that could be Babaji for you if you need something to look at. You can look at something and make this prayer. And sometimes it works better for your brain when you're just focusing on that image and saying it. Then, sometimes your cup, that's what helps you empty your cup. But this bracelet, which I'll show pictures of, that this copper bracelet, that I cut I cut all of these strips off of this sheet of copper, and then I sanded them with kind of a belt sander, and made sure all the edges were not sharp. But I of course annealed it multiple times, which is using a torch to make it soft, and then putting in a pickle, sodium biphosphate, and then letting all the black stuff that happens when you heat something up with a torch. I'm making this way too long. And then after I put in the pickle, which is sodium biphosphate, I hammer it some more, or hammer it a bit more. I probably did that about twice to get it the shape that I wanted, and it's still kind of bendy. But the main thing is, and then I kind of engrave designs in it. But sometimes what you make, it might just seem like arts and crafts or just jewelry crafts. Sometimes you might just make something out of wire, or you might make something really simple. It doesn't even have to be this complicated, and this isn't like a great piece of jewelry. But you can actually, offer this to Babaji if you have a picture, or you just have a place on your desk, or a place on a shrine, or a place on your bedside table that's just for Babaji. Be like, okay, I'm associating this bracelet, I'm associating this piece of jewelry with you. This is for you, Babaji. And whenever I wear this, and I touch it, I'm going to think of you. And you don't have to think of it. Just always associate this with, or something that you offer. Doesn't have to be this. Something that you offer with Babaji. And when you wear it, just try to understand that is associated with him. Just like when you look at a wedding ring and you think of your husband or wife, or when you wear a certain hair, like a hair clip of a certain kind that your grandmother gave you or something like that, you're like, oh, that's my grandmother's. Associate something that you offer to Babaji with Babaji. And you can offer him little white candles, little white tea light candles, and just light that candle and say the mantra over it if you want, with your hands like this. Or, but little offerings, if you like to offer things, if that's something within your, lexicon, little white candles for Babaji, and, pieces of jewelry that you might want to associate with them. This is the one that I have, and I have engraved his name on the inside of it as well, just with a little regular pen engraver. On the inside, I've engraved Babaji. Kind of similar to how I like to think of how, Hanuman had Rama written on all his bones. If you look up Hanuman and Rama, then go ahead if you don't know who they are. But had Rama written on all his bones and his heart. And, because Rama, I think, gave him a bracelet at some point. And then Hanuman looked at it, tore it up, couldn't find Rama's name. But Rama didn't know why he tore it up. He's like, why did you tear it up? By the way, Rama was an avatar as well before Krishna. A lot of information if you don't know any of this. But, and then Rama's like, why'd you tear it up? He's like, because it didn't have your name written on it. And then Rama's like, do you have your name? Is my name written on you? And then Hanuman just like opens his chest and like shows him like, look, on all my bones and in my heart is your name, Krishna, Rama, which is basically, God. If all these names confuse you, if you're Christian, Rama's God, Krishna's God, and all avatars, Christ is God. All avatars are a kind of like a fleck off of source, God. Think of God like an ingot, an infinite ingot. And a fleck is chipped off, comes to various planets in order to guide everyone who hasn't completely reached God consciousness. Just like Christ said, he said, I and my Father in heaven are one. He wasn't talking about just him. He was talking about the love of consciousness that we all have to work towards and get there. God consciousness, Christ consciousness, Krishna consciousness. And he also said, he said, I and my Father in heaven are one, which is the kind of level of consciousness. Only through me can you reach God, which that level of consciousness. Once again, it wasn't just Christ. He wasn't saying that. Kingdom of heaven is within a mustard seed. That's, all the space and in this universe, if it's compressed, all the space between the atoms, electrons, everything compressed, all the material, everything is ultimately one. It just seems like it's not because everything's spaced out. Anyway, going way too much into that. There's all kinds of information behind avatars that you can look up. But keep in mind that the Maha Avatar, Babaji, is here. And he can give you a modicum of peace if you just recite Babaji, Babaji, Babaji mentally, or Om Babaji, Om Babaji, Om Babaji, Om, outwardly, inwardly, with your hands like this. Offer light tea light candles, maybe offer a piece of jewelry and wear sometimes. All these things can be associated with him and can give you a modicum of peace. It's no great big prizes or anything like that, but when you ask Babaji for peace, that prayer is granted. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. I hope this was interesting. I hope this was useful. Feel free to share this wherever you like. Like this video. It really helps out the channel. Feel free to leave a comment. And I hope all of you find peace. I hope all of you are at peace. And first and foremost, Om Babaji.